Hello everyone, welcome back to the Lift Parts Warehouse channel. If your forklift is leaking oil, tilting unevenly, or drifting under load, the problem is usually the tilt cylinder seals, not the pump. In this video, we'll pull the cylinder, reseal it, and reinstall it, and we'll show you the mistakes that cause most rebuilds to leak again. Here's what we're covering: safe removal of the tilt cylinder, what failed, seal order or orientation, reinstall checks. Tilt cylinders on most forklifts are plumbed together. A single hydraulic line comes off the valve body and tees into both cylinders, which means they always see equal pressure. That also means if you crack a hydraulic line without supporting the mast can swing suddenly and spray oil everywhere. So safety and setup matter just as much as the rebuild itself. Lower the mast and set it in a near vertical neutral position. Place solid wooden blocks at the base of the mast. 4x6s work well. The mast should be resting on the blocks, not floating on hydraulics. This prevents uncontrolled mast movement and keeps hydraulic well from being forced out violently when lines are opened. If your hydraulic tank has a vent, crack it open to relieve any residual pressure. Gather everything. You will need a slide hammer for blind pins, a spanner wrench, snap ring pliers, O-ring lube, bench vise, and some basic hand tools. Exact seal designs and hardware will vary by manufacturer, but the process is the same. Always verify against your specific model. Removing the tilt cylinder from the forklift. Each tilt cylinder is held in place by two pins, an upper and a lower. Both pins use keeper plates on both sides, secured commonly by two 14mm bolts per side. Remove the keeper bolts on both sides of the first pin. First, drive the pin inward slightly with a hammer to break the rust bond. Then, attach the slide hammer and pull the pin straight out. With one pin still holding the cylinder, disconnect the two hydraulic lines using a 19mm wrench. Crack the fitting slowly and catch the oil. With the mast properly blocked, you should see controlled oil loss, not a geyser. Remove the keeper bolts on both sides of the second pin. Once the second pin comes free, the cylinder will be released from the forklift. Manually cycle the rod to drain remaining oil, then move the cylinder to your bench. Before opening the cylinder, it's important to understand what usually fails. If oil is leaking externally down the rod, that's almost always a rod seal or wiper failure. If the mast slowly drifts forward or backward under load with no external leak, that's usually a piston seal bypass inside the cylinder. One common misconception: wiper seals do not stop hydraulic leaks, they only keep dirt out. Replacing a wiper alone will not fix a leaking tilt cylinder. That's why we reseal the entire cylinder, not just one seal. Before removing anything, take a moment to identify the internal parts. On the rod, you'll see the chrome rod transfers hydraulic force to the mast. The piston divides the cylinder into two pressure chambers. On the piston, a piston seal that prevents oil from bypassing internally. Wear band. It keeps the piston centered and prevents metal-to-metal contact. Inside the gland, rod seal, primary pressure seal. Wiper seal, keeps contamination out. Backup ring, supports the rod seal under load. O-ring, seals the gland to the cylinder tube. Some designs will also include snap rings or internal retainers that must be removed before the seals can be removed. External cleaning before teardown. Clean the outside of the cylinder thoroughly with 313 spray or brake cleaner. Keeping dirt out during teardown is critical. Contamination is a leading cause of repeat leaks. Removing the gland and opening the cylinder. Start by securing the cylinder in a vise. Only clamp on non-sealing surfaces. Never clamp on the chrome rod or the cylinder bore, or you'll damage it and guarantee a leak later. The gland performs two critical functions. It centers the rod in the bore and houses the seals that keep hydraulic pressure inside the cylinder. Use a spanner wrench to loosen the gland. If it's stubborn, a controlled shock with a chisel can help break it free. Once the gland starts turning, unthread it completely and slide it back along the rod. Now carefully pull the rod and piston assembly straight out of the cylinder tube. You'll feel resistance as the seals pass through the bore. That's normal. At this point, the cylinder is fully open, and you can clearly see the inside of the cylinder bore, the piston on the rod, and the gland with all of its sealing components. This is where the real resealing work begins. If you see deep pitting on the rod or heavy bore scoring, stop here. New seals won't survive, and this cylinder needs rechroming or replacement. Removing the old seals and wear components. We'll start with the piston. Carefully remove the wear band first. This band is usually split, allowing it to expand and contract, and its job is to keep the piston aligned in the bore. Next, remove the piston seal. Depending on the design, this may be a single-piece seal or a seal with an expander underneath it. The expander's job is to apply outward pressure so the seal stays tight against the bore, even at low pressure. Once the piston seals are removed, inspect the seal grooves for debris or sharp edges. Now move to the gland. Start by removing the wiper seal. This seal sits at the outermost edge of the gland and is designed to scrape dirt, dust, and moisture off the rod before it enters the cylinder. Next, remove the rod seal. This is the primary pressure seal for the cylinder and is one of the most critical components in the entire assembly. Behind the rod seal, you'll often find a backup ring. This ring prevents the rod seal from being forced into clearance gaps under high hydraulic pressure. Remove the O-ring that seals the gland to the cylinder tube. If the gland uses a snap ring or internal retainer, remove that next using proper snap ring pliers. As each seal comes out, note its orientation. Seal direction is not optional. Installing a seal backward will cause immediate leakage or failure. With all seals removed, thoroughly clean every component. Spray the rod, piston, gland, and cylinder bore with brake cleaner or 313, then wipe them down with clean rags. Inspect the chrome rod carefully. Light discoloration or surface staining can usually be cleaned. Inspect the cylinder bore. Look for scoring, gouges, or wear. This inspection step determines whether the reseal will last or fail early. Don't rush it. Installing new seals and understanding their function. Before installing any new seals, verify that the rebuild kit matches the cylinder exactly. Apply O-ring lube to every seal before installation. Lubrication prevents damage during assembly and allows seals to seat properly. Starting with the gland. Install the O-ring first. This seal prevents oil from leaking between the gland and the cylinder tube. Next, install the backup ring. The backup ring supports the rod seal and prevents it from extruding under high pressure. Install the rod seal with the lip facing toward the pressure side of the cylinder. As pressure builds, the lip is forced outward, increasing the sealing force. Install the wiper seal last, with the lip facing outward. This seal prevents contamination of everything inside the cylinder. Reinstall any snap rings or retainers that hold the seal stack in place. Now move to the piston. Install the expander or energizer if used. This component ensures consistent sealing force across the entire pressure range. Install the piston seal over the expander. This seal prevents oil from bypassing the piston, which would cause weak or uneven tilt. Finally, install the wear band to keep the piston centered and protect the bore. If either one is installed backward, the cylinder will leak immediately, no break-in period. Lubricate the piston, seals, and inside of the cylinder bore generously. Carefully insert the rod and piston assembly into the cylinder tube. Guide it straight in, avoid tilting, which can damage seals. As the piston enters the bore, you'll feel resistance as the seals compress. Apply steady pressure and do not force it. Once fully seated, slide the gland into position and thread it into the cylinder by hand first to avoid cross-threading. Tighten the gland securely using the spanner wrench. Tighten per the manufacturer's specification where available. At this point, the cylinder is fully resealed and ready for reinstallation. Reinstalling the cylinder. Grease the pins and inspect the bushings. Position the cylinder in the frame and align the mounting holes. Insert the pins, but don't fully seat them until everything is lined up. Install the keeper plates and tighten the 14mm bolts. Reconnect the hydraulic lines using the 19mm fittings, making sure the hoses aren't twisted and the swivels are aligned. Final checks. Before running the machine, verify all pins are fully seated. Confirm keeper bolts are tight. Check hydraulic fittings for proper alignment. Clean up any spilled oil. Once both tilt cylinders are rebuilt, cycle the tilt slowly and check for leaks. If you're rebuilding a tilt cylinder and want the correct seal kit the first time, we stock rebuild kits, seals, O-rings, and complete hydraulic cylinders by Forklift make and model at Lift Parts Warehouse. If you're not sure which kit you need, stop and confirm it before opening the cylinder. Using the wrong kit takes longer than the rebuild itself. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.